Hi, I'm Clair, also known as Great Bear, or just Bear. This is my HBOT story. I've been a musician my entire life. I was born and raised in Iowa, left home very young and toured the United States in various bands until I was in my early 20s. I then went to Nashville. I worked as a cook, houseboy, bouncer, a little bit of everything while still playing music. I took a job as an agent in Nashville and began to network. Quickly worked my way up the food chain to playing guitar for Grand Ole Opry stars. I became a session player and a booking agent. Through this work, I met my mentor and pal, Chet Atkins. It was also during that time that I met some wrestlers backstage at the Grand Ole Opry who said, "You're a big guy. Have you ever thought about wrestling?" This led to my lifelong struggle with concussion. During my training with Tojo, I got my bell rung dozens of times. From being hit with a kendo stick in the head to bad falls on the head, kicks and punches to the head, I was literally a human bruise. I would stay in the business just shy of 5 years, and during that time broke numerous bones and suffered concussions on a regular basis. The idea back then was shake it off, keep going, take a painkiller and buck up, be a man. Quickly finding that Somas, Percocet, Darvocet, Quaaludes, and sleeping pills were the soup du jour in the business. Couple that with steroids, you had a cocktail for some serious injury. I was in a really bad fall from the ring and landed on the back of my head. My feet hit above my head. I don't remember finishing the match or what happened next. I woke up many days later in the hospital in Nashville, Tennessee. I couldn't really speak, and what came out was incoherent. My left hand had very little movement. My left foot was numb. I was terrified. All I could think of was not being able to play guitar. How would I live? After months of rehab and a move back to Iowa, I finally got my hand and foot back and I started to play music again. I moved to Sun Valley, Idaho in the early 90s and was lucky enough to work with the actor Bruce Willis for 3 years. During that time, I was teaching guitar and building guitars. Among my students were Jan Wenner and Steve Miller of the Steve Miller Band, although Steve taught me way more than I ever imparted to him. Life was good, and in early 2003, I started a college in Gooding, Idaho, Western States College. Now, up until this point, I'd always been able to focus and get things done. I could multitask with no issues. I was finding it hard to finish the simplest of things. By 2007, when I retired from the school, I was seriously struggling to remember the kids' names, numbers. I was not even the same person I had always been. I would forget why I was going to the store, where I had parked, or even what I had driven to the store in. In 2012, I moved back to Iowa. I was broken mentally, physically, and financially. I was in a deep depression that seemed to overtake my life. I went to the Mayo Clinic in 2014, was diagnosed with post-concussive syndrome. At that time, I was wearing Exelon patches that they give Alzheimer's patients to help control the early dementia I was in. How my beautiful wife and children put up with me, I'll never know. I had gotten to a point where I was unable to walk unassisted and was using a walker and a heavy cane to get around. I was suicidal at this point and checked myself into a hospital for treatment. When I got there, they gave me new and different drugs that had the same effect on me. More depression, more suicidal thoughts. In early 2016, I had an appointment at the Mayo Clinic as a follow-up for a spinal that had went wrong. It was a day that changed my life. I met Dr. Ian, a doctor from Ireland, and I asked him what he would do if he were in my shoes, and he said I would get HBOT. He explained it and said that there was a doctor in Florida who could help me. I had to be wheelchaired across the airport to get on the plane. I could no longer walk any distance. I said goodbye to my beautiful wife, and I thought about all I'd put her through with this sickness. I decided that if this didn't work, I was going to end my life. I didn't want her or my children to suffer with me any longer. I arrived in Florida and I was met by Doc's aunt. He treated a lot of veterans and had seen this before. Within 4 dives, I felt different. The anxiety and depression began to go away, and by dive 10, it was gone. And I was sleeping 8 to 12 hours a day. I had not done that in over 10 years. My speech began to improve. My clarity of thought improved. My ability to walk and move got better as we progressed. My wife began to hear a difference in my voice and heard a happiness that she'd not heard in a very, very long time. I came home a new man, no longer suicidal. I weaned myself off all the meds. I could think and I could move again. I began to play music again, and better than ever, I just finished filming a documentary film called Operation Back to Life, a film following the lives of 4 Iowa veterans who are now also healed from their issues with HBOT. My life was restored using HBOT. I am on no pain meds, no psych drugs. I live pain-free, and I'm committed to providing this treatment to our veterans who suffer needlessly. HBOT is safe, effective, non-invasive treatment that is proven to get rid of suicidal ideation and saves lives. I am proud to be an HBOT warrior. Thanks for watching.